Hi. Hello, hello. Let's see, is this happening? All right. I think we're live. Hi, guys. Good to see you. I wish I could see you. It's still so weird for me to be like talking to myself, but I do it anyway. So yeah, Tuesday was awesome. I felt really inspired. Hey, AP. Hey, Brittany. Oh, good. Yay, I'm so glad you guys are here. Um, yeah, Tuesday went great. I feel like I went way over, and I always have so much to talk about. And I went through your questions afterwards, and I wanted to. Hi, Shanta. I wanted to answer some of those. Um, and so I feel like that's going to be a good system for me, I think, because you probably have been able to tell I get like so distracted when I'm like reading and speaking and thinking and hi. So I think that I will take your questions from the day before or 2 days before and then try to answer them. And I noticed that a lot of them are like, I try not to make these salesy for my products because that's not my intention. But so many of you are asking, like, what tea do I drink when? And when do I do this? And if this is my situation, so I am going to speak to, hey, Shauna. I am going to speak to that a little bit. So basically, my goal today is to try to meet you where you're at, wherever you are at, because I know that some of you are like just getting started, and you're like, what tea do I drink on what day? And like that's all you want to know for now, because even that feels a little bit overwhelming. And then some of you have been drinking the teas for a few months, and you've started to do womb massage, and now you're like, all right, like I can start to kind of incorporate some other things. So, what I kind of spoke about on Tuesday and what I'm hoping to incorporate a little bit more into my teachings is this idea and this concept of conscious conception, which is like it's not just about what we're doing, but it's really like what the intention is that we're bringing to it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that now. And I've been thinking that in terms of like even our partnership and our relationships, but of course it starts with like what's the intention, in our own ideas about this. So that said, I'm going to hit on every phase of the cycle, but I want to start. I noticed that so many of your questions are about the detox tea and like the detox phase. And I think that's because it's not like a real phase. It's not like one of the four phases of this four-phase approach I have. So I think like so many of the questions are like, when do I do this detox tea? So, basically, if you order like the Fertile Wellness bundle or you order the PCOS bundle, um, you will get the detox tea, or some women just buy this detox tea. And it's important to say, like, as I'm speaking about this four-phase approach, I want to say again that, like, some of you'll notice that if you get one of the bundles, like the endometriosis or the fibroid bundle or the PCOS bundle or the recurrent miscarriage bundle, you might not have all the teas. And that's typically because for those kind of issues, typically our energetic is kind of like stuck in one phase or it's deficient in one phase. So we need to kind of boost up the energetic of that for the whole cycle. So that's a big question I get is like, I only have the fertile mama tea. Do I only drink it during the follicular or yin phase? No, if you only have the fertile mama tea, you could drink that every day, even when you have your period. So people will sometimes say like, I got the fertile moon tea. Did I get the wrong tea? I don't actually think there's a wrong tea. So I feel like what the teas are really formulated so that they'll benefit everyone. They'll benefit you even if you're not trying to get pregnant. They'll benefit you if you are totally healthy. Like I still drink a lot of my teas, and I don't have really like any imbalance, probably because I drink the teas. But I wouldn't be concerned about like, oh no, I bought the wrong tea. There might be a tea that might benefit you more, but there's no tea that's gonna like harm you or hurt you. The womb warming tea is sometimes too hot for women. It has like fennel and cinnamon and ginger. So if you're drinking that tea and you find like you're like breaking out or you're having hot flashes or night sweats, it might be too hot for you. And that's an important thing to note. Just pay attention to that. And maybe if you notice that, then you'll just have that in the yang phase of your cycle or after ovulation. So I want to go in order. So I'll start with, let me just move over here for a minute. I'm going to start with talking. Okay, I love that you guys are all congratulating each other. I love that so much. I like, I'm going to take a side note, but like, it's so beautiful to see the like sisterhood that's forming in the group. I love it so much that you guys are like calling each other auntie when you get your positive pregnancy. Like, that is everything I could have hoped for and more. Hey, Cece. Okay, so focus. I need to do this to myself because I get really excited and I want to like see all your names. But right now I'm going to focus and trust that if your question does not get answered, I will read it and I will get to it next week. So, okay, the detox I find important because we are living in an environment that is, you know, in terms of environmental toxins and the things we put on our skin, on our cleaning products and our foods, there's just a lot of toxins. Like, if you eat fish, you're absorbing the toxins from the ocean. If you know, it's just, there's toxins everywhere. It's just kind of the nature of where we live and when we live. And unfortunately, a lot of those toxins get stored in our cells. So when we do get pregnant, we can release them to our babies, like through our uterus, through the umbilical cord, through our breast milk. So it's important for when you do get pregnant to have detoxed already, because you can't detox once you're pregnant because you'll directly give that to your baby. But also sometimes that level of toxicity, the liver has to process out all of our toxins. So if you have a lot of toxicity in your liver, the liver is also what helps you balance your hormones. So a lot of these women that are writing in, I'm hearing about like excess LH or excess estrogen or not enough progesterone. Often just clearing out the liver a little bit will give it the energy it needs to be able to have like a better hormonal balance. And so some women just do the detox tea and will get pregnant, which is awesome. It's not like, I think I said this last time with the tea, it's not like, for most situations, it's not like if you drink it for 10 days instead of 8, or you drink it for 7 days instead of 5, it doesn't make a difference really. I mean, it's good to drink it. The more you drink, the better, but it's not like you're going to like mess anything up if you drink it on the wrong days. So what I had been recommending from the very beginning was to do the detox for a whole month, like a whole cycle to do the detox. But I found that many women were like, I don't want to like not do the teas, not do the other stuff. So I want to do the fertile mama because I want to start with phase 1. I see the detox as starting, so I don't feel like it's pushing anything off. I see the detox as starting. But because I don't want to be a stickler about anything, I sometimes say like, okay, well, whenever you get your kit, then whenever you get your teas, just start the detox. And then once you start bleeding, you could switch over to the bitches brew. Or 5 days before your cycle, you could switch over to the bitches brew. Or you could do the detox until you run out and then switch to wherever you are in your cycle. Some women decide that they want to start their other teas with the detox. I don't recommend that. It's not bad, it's fine, but I think you should give your body a chance to detox, because I also think then you'll process the other teas better. The detox is like the most liver clearing. It's got milk thistle. It's just really a great tea. I actually recommend it for your partners to drink it. I still drink it, and it's, and even it's, originally I formulated that when I had an apothecary, and it wasn't even for conception. I tweaked it a little bit to make it more conception friendly, but it's a great tea. So you could, if you really want to get started, just do 1 cup of the detox and 2 cups of whatever day, whatever other tea you're on for whatever day of the cycle you are. That is fine, but I love to give your body like at least 5 days where you're doing 3 cups of the detox. Some women, right, and with whatever tea they're drinking, they might say like, I am getting headaches, I'm getting nauseous. That's actually a sign that your body is detoxifying, but it's just detoxing a little faster. So you're having a detox reaction. So if that happens, it's fine, but just for your own, well-being, it's best to kind of pull it back a little bit. So you can steep it for a shorter amount of time, and this goes for any of the teas because they all have some liver-moving herbs in there. So that's actually an indication that maybe you have, a higher level of toxicity in your body. Um, so yeah, you could pull it back and like steep it for a few minutes less, or make a little bit less of the tea, or only do it 1 cup a day. See how you feel, and then when you stop getting headachy or nauseous, you can up the amount. I wouldn't go over 3 cups a day. It's just not necessary. So that's the detox. I want to talk about birth control pill. I talked about it in like 2 or 3 lives past. So if you're interested in going off the birth control pill, or like what the birth control pill does to your fertility, I would recommend going and looking at one of those past live videos, and I'll talk about it again, I'm sure, but I just don't have time to do it today. But definitely, if you've been on any kind of birth control pill, I would recommend at least a cycle on the detox. Okay, so going into phase one, I call it phase one, but like I said on Tuesday, it's not linear. But the phase one is this blood phase, this metal element, and we talked about a lot about the idea is for release and letting go and shedding. You want your blood to really release fully, because if you're only releasing a little bit, it might get stored in there and then cause some blockage, and then you might find that you get clots next time, or if you find like you're having like brown or black or dark spotting beforehand, that's a good sign that the last cycle your blood hasn't cleared out completely. So the physical that I recommend during this phase are like twists, like yoga twists. You want to do some like more vigorous exercise. It doesn't have to be like crazy kickboxing, but just get your blood pumping because you want your circulation to be moving. I wouldn't recommend doing any inversions in yoga, and when you're bleeding, also don't go into like cold water. It's kind of like some of these myths that were like old grandma myths are actually for a reason. Like you don't want to kind of staunch your bleeding when you want to let it flow. So warmth is good. A heating pack on your back would be good. Heating back on your low belly. You don't want to do like intensive womb massage, but you could definitely like put your hands on your belly, especially if you're cramping, and do some like light, gentle massage. If you have cramping when you're bleeding, I love moxa. I've also done a video of how to do moxa. I don't have one out, but it's like a pole that you light, kind of like a cigar, and you hold it like an inch from your skin. That's really good if you have cramping. Sometimes cramping is due to cold. Like if you think about when you go outside, you tense up. That sometimes happens to your reproductive organs. So that's why the moxa is really nice and soothing. What else? What else? Oh, this was a question in the group the other day, but I recommend against using tampons. Again, you want things to be flowing, so even if you just plug something in there that's like absorbing your blood, it's not really flowing out. I'm okay with a diva cup or like a moon cup because that's different. It's almost like collecting it, it's not stopping it up there. And then thinks or like nicks or period panties are great. So I don't recommend doing like any kind of bath or anything for during your period. You could do it before, and we'll talk about that when we get to the yang phase. Um, but yeah, things that are more like warming and moving and invigorating and twisting. And then on the energetic level, this idea of conscious conception that I'm bringing in when you're ready, it's the idea of this kind of time of ritual and remembrance. Like this was the time that we would do like red tents as women and circle and let ourselves be vulnerable and go inward and be introspective. And this kind of feeling that I get behind this is this like deep reverence for and honor of our bodies as like the magical beings that they are. And sometimes so many of us, like we get our period and our immediate like feeling is like, oh, I'm broken. My body is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I would encourage you to see if you could switch your mindset around that and really like, even if you feel like you're faking it in the beginning and you're just like making it up, like try to just take a few moments to like breathe into your womb and just like thank her for being so magical and so powerful. And the idea that you're bleeding is like that you're bleeding is a sign that you can create. So I would just really honor it. Okay. I'm looking at the time. Last time I went like way over because I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours. So the next phase is the yin phase, and that's after you're done bleeding. Often in Western medicine, it's called the follicular phase. And so the tea that you would be drinking if you are cycling with all the teas will be the fertile mama tea. So the physical that we're aiming to do in this cycle is to really nourish our follicles that are being grown. We're building and growing our follicles. And I sometimes see this as like the gestational time because we can't see what's happening. But ideally, what should be happening is that our follicles are steadily, 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 steadily growing. So this is the most important time. In all of our cycles, stress is not ideal, but especially because stress will spike our cortisol levels, which then will spike our temperature. And then it's almost like I liken it kind of to like if you put a cake in the oven and then you're like raising and lowering the temperature, it's just not going to bake as like evenly as it would if you kept like a low steady temperature. If you overheat it, like if you have crazy stress, you might burn it, and then your follicle is not going to be viable. Or if it's just really low and you're not, it just, you kind of want a steady nourishment here. Sometimes if follicular health is an issue, if you have high FSH or low AMH, there might be like a yin deficiency, which is like this cooling aspect of your body is deficient. So you really want to introduce cooling energies during this time. So like meditation, the fertile mama bath during this time is great. The fertile mama tea is great because it's really yin nourishing. Yin is this like estrogenic cooling substance. And then things like meditation or yoga, things that are like encouraging you to breathe because breathing helps to reduce your stress levels and your cortisol levels. So, I have two intentions kind of for this time. One is just like if you're finding yourself getting really stressed, just notice it. Like there's no need to like be hard on yourself or like, we all get stressed. And sometimes even just the noticing that we are stressed is a really good first step. And the second, which I introduced on Tuesday, is this idea of trust, which almost like implies a like letting go. And what I said on Tuesday was that trusting is the medicine. It's that like when you're worried about everything and you're not sure if the follicles are growing, like you get kind of tight. And what we need during this phase, the yin is all about the flow. So like the more things that you can do that help your body flow, the massage, the womb massage is great during this time. Anything that you can do. I see I'm getting distracted by the sides. I'm just going to peek. It's like I'll just peek. All right. Okay. So that is the yin phase. And again, like in terms of if you're cycling with all the teas, then you'd be drinking the fertile mama during the yin phase, which is around days like 5 to 12. Did I say what you drink on the blood phase? I don't think I did. That would be the bitches brew tea. So when you're bleeding, you would drink the bitches brew tea because that's the most moving tea, the most blood moving tea, and it kind of helps you clear out this buildup in your uterus. So if you're cycling, then the bitches brew would be for when you're bleeding. The fertile mama would be for after you're bleeding. And again, you can do all of these not together. Like you can't do like the bitches brew and the fertile mama and the fertile moon and the womb warming the whole cycle, but you could do one of them or two of them, not two of them the whole cycle, but like one of them the whole cycle, or you could do half and half. And we'll talk about this more. This is where I noticed that like most of you are getting confused. So I'm trying to like get to that. And I don't want to confuse you more. The only two teas that I'd be drinking at the same time, like the same day, like some people are like, can I have fertile mama and then an hour later have the fertile moon and then an hour later have the bitches? No, like you want to like support your body evenly kind of with the energy that it needs during that phase. The only time I would do that is if you're doing like 2 cups of fertile mama a day and then the detox tea once a day. Okay, so around days 5 through 12, you're doing the fertile mama. And then right around ovulation, if you're having like a regular cycle, 28 to 30 days, you'd probably start around day 13, the chi phase, which is the moving phase of your cycle. That's when you're about to ovulate, and then when you are ovulating. So this phase is all about that burst of energy. I did a really like inappropriate movement when I talked about that last time, so I'm aware that keep my hand motions. Anyway. So this is when you do the fertile moon. And the reason that so many people, I think, get confused with the fertile moon tea and the fertile mama tea, the fertile mama tea is more about nourishing and cooling your yin and supporting your yin and supporting follicular development. The fertile moon tea is really good for moving and also clearing through if you have any dampness, which tends to be one of the things that prevents ovulation. So if you have like PCOS, the fertile moon tea would actually be great for you. And I often combine that one with the detox tea, like 2 cups of fertile moon and 1 cup of detox. If you're just cycling with the teas, then you'll just do the fertile moon around days like 13 through 16. If you're not cycling and you have PCOS, you could do the fertile moon the whole cycle and not worry about the other teas. So around the chi phase, this is when we want to do things that really move our energy. So you might want to do like a more rigorous exercise. You might want to, we'll always kind of avoid fried foods. During the yin phase, which I talked about last, you'll want to do more cooling foods like cucumbers, and you might want to avoid in general like really heavy meats or greasy foods or fatty foods or fried foods, because it's hard for our body to process that. But especially during the chi phase, when you want things to be moving, you'll want a lot of like leafy greens and vegetables. You might want to like go for a brisk walk, like things that really get your blood pumping. During this phase, you definitely could do like some womb massage or even dry brushing. I have a video on my somewhere about dry brushing, or even just like touch yourself lightly. It's great for lymphatic drainage. During the chi phase, when we have dampness, this is what tends to affect ovulation. So dampness is kind of like, this is why I always say cut out dairy, because dairy like perpetuates dampness, so does sugar. I'm not into like deprivation diets, but dampness and sugar and gluten tend to just be a really common cause of damp accumulation. So just really avoiding processed foods, especially when you're trying to get pregnant, is important. And for both of these phases, the kind of energetic is like to go with the flow. The yin phase goes into the chi phase and really just like going with the flow and not trying to control anything. Because this idea of control, again, also like spikes our cortisol levels and causes stagnation. And like if you think about like you want things to go a certain way, you just get tight. And for ovulation to occur, we need things to be moving. I almost just did that hand motion again. So, all right, moving on. I'm looking at my time. I think I'm good this time. All right, moving on, the yang phase. So this is what a lot of women call like the 2-week wait, although it's usually a little shorter than 2 weeks. It's like after you've ovulated, your progesterone is supposed to spike. If you're reading your basal body temperature charts, your temperature is spiking. You want it to be at least 1/2 degree higher than it was in its highest temperature in the follicular phase. I know that's a little confusing. But yes, you want your temperature to be higher. That means your progesterone is higher. And so we want to do a lot of warming things. Like this is when I recommend using the womb warming oil. Oh, the womb healing oil, I didn't say. That's great for the yin phase. But this phase, you might want the womb warming oil. You might want to do moxa. People often ask me about doing massage, like castor oil massage during this phase. Castor oil massage can be really, really, really great for during this phase, but it's heavy and down-bearing, so it's great if you are not trying to get, it's great if you're trying to get pregnant, but not that month. You know what I mean? Like if it really can encourage and support your reproductive health in general, but a lot of women were expressing concern, like, well, what if I ovulated and I'm trying to get pregnant? And if you think you might be pregnant, you might want to avoid doing the castor oil pack after ovulation. I've never had anybody miscarry from doing that. So I don't feel like it's a concern, but I always want you to like err on the side of caution. So if you know for certain you haven't had sex or something, or you're not pregnant for sure, then great. It's great to do the castor oil pack with the womb warming massage oil. A little of the womb warming massage goes a really long way. So, and it like builds up. So put it on a little bit and then wait and see, because some people are like, I put it on, it got really hot. It's warm, it's hot. You'll also want to do warming foods, especially during the yang phase. So that's like the chai spice kind of teas, like cinnamon and nutmeg and ginger and fennel. Those are all really warming. And those are a lot of the ingredients that are in my womb warming tea. So you could just drink the womb warming tea. I love to add like some unsweetened almond milk to it. I think it's really tasty. And then also like keep your body warm. Like make sure you keep your body warm, especially your low belly and your low back. You can like even do heating pads are great. You just want to stay warm. And the energetic that I was trying to introduce when you've been doing this for a while is this idea of like, we get this yang energy from our heart and our kidneys kind of balancing. So the heart is all about like our joy. So I was talking on Tuesday about how this often gets kind of lost in the equation, like this idea that this phase is about like really celebrating. Often it ends up being like really anxious, like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. It's like, this is a really good opportunity to be like, you can't do anything else, right? Like what's done is done. Now it is a little bit of a wait. So like, let's look for our yes. Like, where can we find joy? I loved it that some of you were saying like, I find joy in music or when I sing or when I dance or when I'm in nature. Like, do the things that are a big yes for you. And it's also a really good opportunity to start to look at like what might not be a yes and what is a no and why you're doing those things. I think that is it. I feel like I was talking really fast and we have a few minutes left, like 5 minutes left for questions. I think I answered a few of these. If you have fibroids, yes. Yeah, so if you have fibroids, then this is one tea I didn't talk about. The Bitches Brew tea, I know I talked about it for the blood phase, but this is another tea that you might be just cycling with for a while. So if you have endometriosis or fibroids, you might want to just do the Bitches Brew tea for a few cycles and don't even worry about adding in the fertile moon or the fertile mama or the womb warming. Endometriosis and fibroids tend to be an accumulation of blood. So you want to do the Bitches Brew tea because that has the herbs in it that are the most moving. And you'll also want to do like twists and more invigorating movements. Also, I believe I also mentioned this on Tuesday, but anything where we're like holding in our womb, often that can be an energetic holding. And so we can look at like, is there any trauma in our lineage? Is there any sexual trauma in our life, in our lineage? Sometimes we have like ancestral trauma that we don't even know about that we tend to hold there. Like we as women, I mean, I see the womb as like a portal to like other dimensions. So I feel like that is very possible. And I've worked on that a lot with the womb journeys that I do with my patients. And I've seen like amazing things clear up just from like kind of dealing with and working with and exploring that trauma. If you know you have trauma or you feel you have trauma, I highly recommend working with like a trained trauma worker. It's not something I want you to go alone or feel like you're alone in. But there is a very real correlation. So I wouldn't like, if you know you've had some trauma and now you're having trouble getting pregnant, I wouldn't like disregard it. And I also certainly wouldn't ever have any kind of sense of like self-blame about that. Our bodies hold stuff for us. Like that's what it does. That's what they're meant to do. So often like on a cellular level, we're really holding. And so that's like when I talk about dampness, that's often like a holding of chi. Anytime we hold and our energy can't flow smoothly, things tend to accumulate because we're holding. So I think I spoke about it in like another video, but if you think about like a river flowing and then it just starts getting like blocks and sticks and things that are, preventing it from flowing, you'll get areas where there's like I don't even know what it's called. Someone tell me what it's called. Like a little like pile of stuff with sticks and things aren't moving. It'll get kind of like swampy and marshy. You could use the year seeds all the time. They could be in the whole month. Cool to ovulation cramping. And next time, so I have a video actually about how to do your BBT chart and what you should be seeing on your BBT chart. Chart. I know it's getting late because I just said shart. um, now I can't think. Okay, yeah. So on my YouTube channel, which is my name, Ariele Myers, I have a video on how to do your basal body temperature charting. And that's really important. I know. That's really important. And I like that so much. So many of you guys reach out on the group and to me with your LH surges. And that's like such a small, I mean, I don't say not to do that, but that's like such a small little way to like show what's happening just on this few days. The BBT chart, you can see what's happening every day. You know, like you can see, oh, the yin phase, I'm having these temperature spikes. That means you need to focus on the yin phase of your cycle with some cooling and nourishing. Or, you know, you might have an LH surge, but then your temperature might drop. And if you're not doing that BBT charting, you have no idea. And that might be an indication that you have to do some more warming, like progesterone or, yes. Okay. I think that's it. I should have stopped 5 minutes ago and then I wouldn't have embarrassed myself. But I love you guys. I actually think it's funny. So, I hope that was good, and I will read your questions and hope to answer them next time. Thank you so much for coming. I have my kids upstairs, so I got to go tend to them. I'm really grateful for you guys for being here because then I get to do what I love. So hopefully I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.